Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Premier League Game Week 7 Comedy Review, the series where we go over everything that happened during the game week that had us laughing at this game that is FPL. So long story short, this game week was a complete massacre. Casualties everywhere, players returning 1 and 2 pointers like someone handing out business cards. I've seen team after team on Twitter with nothing but 1s and 2s in the starting 11. This was by far the worst game week I've ever seen. It's like all the highly owned players thought that the international break was already underway, except Salah. The signs were there from the beginning, foreshadowing the disaster to follow. The injuries before the game week were piling up and players dropping like flies. The injuries this season being sprinkled on each game week like Salt Bae sprinkling salt on his steaks. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, and Patrick Bamford among some of the names out injured. Luke Shaw was an injury doubt, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, being as useful as an inflatable dartboard, gave us no further hints if he would be able to start or not. Midweek Champions League performances all played a part in manager transfers, as Ronaldo scored a late winner versus Villarreal and Lukaku was kept quiet as Chelsea lost to Juventus. Chilwell came on as a sub, making the 400k managers who transferred in Alonso early a bit uneasy. Salah and Firmino both got a brace and Mane scored as well. Their opponents at the weekend, City, lost to PSG. Now, let's get started. Manchester United vs Everton. Shaw did start, and it was Ronaldo who found himself on the bench, his 2 million captainers all ready to throw hands if they spotted Ollie in the streets. Joining him on the bench were Pogba and Sancho, who were as clueless as you and me about how Fred got in the team before them. Fernandes set up Martial, who slotted home, and United were largely in control. The second half, however, saw Townsend equalise after Fred got pushed off 2 challenges at the halfway line like a twig getting whipped about in a tornado. Townsend pulled a Uno reverse and went ahead with the trademark Ronaldo Soo celebration for his goal. Tom Davies had the glorious opportunity to shoot home the winner at Old Trafford and instead chose to pass to an offside Yerry Mina. That's like being given the chance to attend a banquet with all the delicacies you could ever hope to eat, and you end up eating the dirt outside the venue instead. Finished 1-1 and Ronaldo walked off fuming just like his captainers. Meanwhile, Ollie was seen smiling just like the Lukaku and Antonio captainers were at this point in time. Townsend came out later and said the Soo celebration was meant as a tribute to Ronaldo, and they swapped shirts later as well. Sir Alex, in a conversation with Khabib after the match, was surprised Ronaldo wasn't starting and that you should send out your best team. On behalf of the 2 million captainers as well as the non-captain owners, we totally agreed with Sir Alex, and all of us together could easily crowdfund enough to get Khabib to go and give Ollie a headlock for all his shenanigans. Chelsea vs Southampton. Midweek fears were confirmed for 400k managers as Ben Chilwell started and Alonso was on the bench. Chilwell played the perfect FPL villain this week as he had Alonso owners in the mud at the start, conceded a penalty, which ward-prowse scored to wipe out the Chelsea clean sheet, before going ahead and scoring himself in the dying minutes. Absolute mad lad. Lukaku captainers were left fuming as well as he was caught offside and hit the post as well late on. It didn't help that Timo Werner scored a tap-in with Lukaku waiting just behind him to do the same. Azpilicueta was the only majorly owned Chelsea player who came out of this game shining with 10 points. The fact that ward-prowse got sent off and Lukaku didn't score against 10 men felt like a missed opportunity to many as the disappointment joyride was just getting started. Wolves vs Newcastle. Hwang Hee-chan turned out to be the man as he scored 2 goals in a 2-1 victory. Jimenez owners rejoiced as well as Chan was set up for both goals by him. Newcastle scored after Sarr was a bit lightheaded after a collision and was making his way back to goal. He made up for it with a point-blank save from Saint-Maximin. Trincao hit the bar from a Chan pass, and Adama Traore came on in added time just to rub salt into the wounds of those still unfortunate enough to have him in their team. The man cannot stop trolling. Burnley vs Norwich. 0-0 draw. As fun as watching paint dry. Both arguably the most boring sides in the league, and I'm sure Norwich would be more than thrilled to get their first point of the campaign. Burnley keep Norwich company in the relegation zone with 3 points total. Brandon Williams didn't play this game, so no clean sheet points for the 4 million defender. Leeds vs Watford. Diego Llorente with a finish from a corner was the only goal for this game. Butterfingers all around as there were spills from keepers on both sides, but Meslier was saved by a foul call and Foster helped out by his defence and the crossbar after fumbling. Another poor result as Rafinha only got 3 points, which was, to be fair, exceeding expectations for the week. Brighton vs Arsenal. Heading into the last game on Saturday, a lot of folks dreamed of a 0-0 draw having both Sanchez and White in our teams. And the FPL gods decided to give us a ray of hope in this dark game week as it finished 0-0. Dunk missed an open goal when Ramsdale spilled as he blazed over the bar. Guess he couldn't dunk this chance. Guess it was more of a Rams fail from the keeper. Smith Rowe had the chance to pass to Saka for a certain goal. Instead, he chose to shoot instead. If he does that again, we'll Saka him. Tottenham vs Aston Villa. It was the Son show as he had 2 assists to see Tottenham to a 2-1 win. Højbjerg and a Targay own goal from a ball flashed across the box. Watkins scored for Villa. Harry Kane continues with his disappearing act as he remains the most overpriced FPL asset yet to deliver. City might not have been able to get Kane, but it seems like Spurs don't have him either. Ghost on the pitch. Harry Houdini? West Ham vs Brentford. Antonio captainers waited with anticipation having seen both Lukaku and Ronaldo blank. A hole here would have catapulted them up the ranks. However, Brentford came out all guns ablaze and looked like they mean business as they went ahead and turned West Ham into Smoked Ham. Mbeumo scored after he'd hit the crossbar earlier. Bone equalised late on before Visser took a pisser on the West Ham fans in attendance with a late volley to seal the deal. Brentford look very promising in these so-called tough fixtures and look like good picks to bring in going forward. Crystal Palace vs Leicester. Jamie Vardy still having a party as he scored and Iheanacho joined in with a goal as well. About time, as Rodgers has had him starting from the bench after what was an incredible run of form at the end of last season. Crystal Palace showing they're not made of glass though as they fought back from 2 down to finish the game 2-2. Liverpool vs Manchester City. And so as the last game of the week came by, we were all hoping for something, anything to happen so that we could get some points. Faith rested on Salah, Jota, Diaz and Cancelo among many managers. Torres on the bench for the 3rd game in a row for the people who took a chance on the Pep Roulette. Silva went on a Messi-esque run through the whole Liverpool defence before sliding in Foden who couldn't finish. City dominated possession but the game really sprang to life in the second half. Mane scoring after being slipped in by Salah. Then we were treated to 2 crisp finishes as Foden equalised before Salah ran through that City defence like a hot knife through butter before finishing. De Bruyne equalised with a superb strike that deflected off Matip to make it 2-2. Liverpool should have won it at the end as Fabinho had the goal at his mercy, but Rodri slid in with his right foot like the Flash to block it. The speed to get there and block it was incredible. And so it finished 2-2. Chelsea sit top of the table with 16 points, Liverpool in second with 15, and City, United, Everton and Brighton of all teams on 14 as we head into the abyss of boredom, also known as the international break. And that ended an incredibly tough game week. 2-pointers everywhere, FPL ranks destroyed. Lessons from this game week? Stop overthinking it and hand the captain's armband to Salah. So that's it for the FPL Gameweek 7 comedy review. As always, any suggestions are appreciated and leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'm going to leave you with some funny tweets from this game week. Cheers and take care.